All right, so good morning, everyone, and welcome to JDC West 2022 Human Resources Case Presentation sponsored by Raymond James. Thank you to our judges, Andrea Linger, Trevor Finch, Janine Jeanson, and Megan McDowell. Competitors will have a maximum of 20 minutes to present. Immediately following the presentation, judges will have a total of 5 minutes to ask the presenter any questions. Competitors, you'll see Zoom chat notifications at various intervals to indicate the remaining time, and any speaker who continues to speak after the maximum time limit will be stopped. No questions or comments will be permitted from the audience. All judges are asked to have their microphones muted during the presentation. The audience is banned from any material or naming convention that bears the name or symbol of the competing university. And we ask that the audience leave the Zoom call immediately following the presentation. Judges, again, please stay on this call until I advise you to move to the next. And with that being said, competitors, you may now begin your presentation.
If we were to pose the question to you or any of your employees, what type of business is MJ Electronics in? You would most likely say, well, we're in the business of selling electronics and appliances. Now we want you to think about what really drives your business to success. The answer is your people. MJ Electronics is in the business of people. You just happen to also sell electronics. Good morning, my name is Jessica and I'm here with my colleagues Rachel and Clara on behalf of Clearly Consulting. Today, you presented us with the question of how can MJ Electronics provide a meaningful customer and employee experience while still recovering from the financial impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. We've identified 3 key issues for you today, which is a shift in industry trends, an increase in customer service experience, as well as high turnover. Today, we're delighted to share with you our keys to success strategy, which includes the recommendation of entering the new market, shifting your talent, and controlling your path to have an impact of increasing sales by $230 million in 2 years, as well as decreasing turnover rate to 55%. I will now pass it off to Rachel to go over our analysis more in depth.
First, we wanted to answer your biggest question right away. Should you consider automated cashiers? Mark has said it himself, modernization is the key to resurgence. We must act now to keep up with our competition, to reach new customers and recover from financial impacts. However, the answer to this is not your self-serve machines. On the surface, we can see that this would cut payroll expenses by 35%, as well it would give you the ability to reach new customers. However, down below, what we don't see is that this is currently a band-aid solution. It does not acknowledge how your competitors will be reacting to the industry, as well as it's not the reason that your customers go visit your store in person. So there is no alignment with your core values of that customer service excellence that you provide. Additionally, if you were to lay off employees, it would harm their morale, as well as there is the ethical issue of laying off individuals during a pandemic when there is support that they need so much more in this time. So overall, this solution does not consider your true product, your people. And the answer to reaching new customers and recovering financial impacts is through your human advantages and your services. Jumping into the first issue, we can see that major tech appliances retailers have made the shift. However, MJ Electronics has not and is currently not offering the same online offerings that many of your competitors have, along with NCIX. However, let's take a look at what happened to NCIX. They claimed bankruptcy in 2018 because they did not respond to the changing industry trends, and it contributed to their bankruptcy. Next, we can also see that consumer behavior is shifting to e-commerce. So what we can currently see is that there was an online retail sales increase by 11 billion from 2019 to 2020 during the pandemic. However, you were unable to benefit from this increase in sales, seeing that you currently lack an online platform. So overall, you will miss a large market opportunity and risk store closure if you remain a laggard. Next, we wanted to look at this increase in customer service expectations that has been brought about due to COVID-19. Looking at your current state, you are known for your exceptional customer service in the tech industry, and we want you to be able to get to your ideal state of continuing to provide that excellent customer service to match the new normal, as well as using it as a way to differentiate yourself from other refurbished tech retailers. To bridge this gap, we've identified that the solution is to leverage your strengths to provide responsive and knowledgeable customer support on all platforms. And according to a study by Zendesk, 85% of teams reported having to make changes to the customer support in 2020 due to COVID-19. So what are your customers now looking for in the retail experience? Let's take a look at Jamie, who is a customer who owns an MJ loyalty card and loves your customer service, which has brought her back to your store multiple times. For the in-person experience, what she's looking for is really that social aspect of shopping, along with 59% of millennials who agree with her. And online, she is looking for fast and reliable customer service support, seeing that 53% care more about the quality of a company's customer service in 2021 than they did in the previous year. So overall, MJ Electronics must leverage your service strengths to differentiate yourself from the competition or risk damaging your brand. And finally, we wanted to examine the current high turnover in the retail industry. You currently cannot afford to lose employees, seeing that your average turnover rate in the retail industry is above 60%, and we are currently in the Great Resignation. So retailers have nearly 1 million job openings as of April 2020. So there are more job openings than there are employees to fill them. There are also a lot of losses that you will incur from turnover. This includes time spent training, replacement costs, loss of production and performance, as well as potential turnover costs of $3 million a year. Let's take a look at Alex, who is one of your full-time sales associates who immigrated from India with an extensive IT background. He's very valuable to your employee. However, he's considering leaving because he needs more ways to find value in his position since he is tired of the day-to-day. So how can you retain skilled employees like Alex? We took a look at the top reasons why employees stay within a company. One is if they are being paid more than the reservation wage, which has increased due to the pandemic. Next is if a company invests in their learning and development. According to LinkedIn's Workforce Learning Report, 94% of employees stay at a company longer if it invests in their learning and development. And finally, if the company cares about their health and safety. We wanted to hone in learning and development because there is opportunity for you to capitalize on. Looking at your competitors, they offer positions such as technician specialist and applied advisor. However, these are not positions available at your company currently, despite being positions popular in the industry. Overall, you will incur losses in time, money, and the ability to provide customer service if you do not focus on retention. Next, I will pass it on to Clara to go over our decision criteria for our strategy.
Thanks, Rachel. So we have three different alternatives for your next steps. So the first one is revamping your in-store experience, a reduction in workforce, and focusing on building your digital capabilities. Now, really to hone in on the one that you need moving forward, we have 4 different criteria points. And the first one is it cost efficient? Does it increase employee retention? Does it improve the customer experience? And lastly, does it modernize the operation? Now, we found the first one of revamping the in-store experience isn't a viable option, as focusing on brick and mortar stores, it risks MJ Electronics from seeing the NCIX effect. Now, moving on to the reduction in workforce. Now, although this is a cost-effective solution, a reduction in workforce during a pandemic poses large ethical implications and it's just not the sustainable solution to grow as an organization. Now, lastly, that is why we want you to focus on building your digital capabilities, because that is a sustainable solution moving forward. Now, taking a look at our overall recommendations, I'm really excited to bring to you today our keys to success strategy. 1, enter the market, shift your talent, and control your path. Now, moving into the enter the market strategy. An e-commerce solution is the key to success. It's essential for long-term growth. Just looking at the numbers, you're seeing that e-commerce is driven by newer, low-frequent buyers, and that there is already a larger market for the refurbished consumer electronics. And 75% of decision makers have already said that COVID has accelerated the adoption of digital tech. But what does this look like for your organization? E-commerce will allow your customers to check your product range and order 24/7. It provides consumers across the country convenient access to your product range from coast to coast. And you have the opportunity to provide customer service, not only in store, but through the web or phone. So what does this look like for your customers? So we have a mock-up that shows you different features that potentially you can offer, speaking with an expert. So your customers are going to be able to get online help for product advice or inquiries or troubleshooting, they're able to filter and minimize time spent on searching for items. And lastly, with account creation on the right, they're able to link their loyalty card to an online account that will allow them to track their purchases and wanted items. Now, to really drive this in, this online solution is going to allow your organization to tap into markets beyond your current city hubs. So just looking at the numbers that we found in our analysis, this is going to allow your organization to reach a market of 42 million millennials and Gen Zers who are going to buy products or refurbished electronics. This is also going to allow you to capture 3% of the Canadian Upper USA market to really increase sales by $230 million in the next 2 years. And the impact of this recommendation is that increasing your online presence will allow you to retain your core customers, score for more, and really set your organization up for long-term success. Now, moving into our second recommendation of shifting your human advantage. It's supported, not overshadowed by technology. So we recommend integrating Twilio, which is a cloud platform that you can integrate into your website to support your operations and highlight your strength, which is your customer service. So your customers are going to be able to manage, your employees are going to be able to manage phone calls, live chats, as well as emails to really manage these customers efficiently, have a faster point of contact, and personalize each and every conversation. Electrolux, a Swedish company that's a leader in the appliance industry, found great success and an increase of 20 to 30% in contact center calls. Now, what does this look like back for your company and for your employees? So to deliver the MJ magic beyond the physical space, we recommend shifting some of your part-time workers as new customer experience reps to ensure your customers are supported anywhere. So their goal is to help customers find that rare treasure at MJ Electronics. Now, this is actually going to allow your organization to cater to the 70% of millennials who've considered leaving their jobs for more flexible work options, and also provides an alternative method of work for vulnerable employees who might not want to be working in store. Now, for Jamie, let's bring her back in. She's going to receive the same MJ customer experience, but at the convenience of her own home. Now, with every change, there needs a change management strategy. So we have ProC's 3-step change management process to really guide your organization through change. So with preparing the change, you need a communication strategy for both your employees and both your customers. Now, you also want to select a change champion. So these are employees who really exhibit your core values in customer service. And moving into managing this change. So training and supporting both in-store employees and these customer experience reps. They're going to have their specialized training, but they're going to be supported as well with online resources and training guides. Now, bringing in your change champions to really share the excitement about the website and share best practices to raise awareness for customers. Lastly, sustaining change. This is really recognizing your employees by sharing customer testimonials through email blasts, reviewing outcomes, and engaging performance through post-interaction surveys and site visits, and really encouraging your customer experience reps to share information and best practices on the internet channels that you'll provide. So the impact of this recommendation is it provides loyal customers like Jamie an omnichannel experience that doesn't only drive customer satisfaction, but it enables key employees to provide that quality service in a flexible work arrangement. Now, moving into our last recommendation, the control, specialize your employees to drive the employee and customer experience. Now, some employees might not want to go to the management path, and that's okay, but you really need to provide that upward career path alternative to a supervisory position. So bringing back one of your employees, Alex. Currently, the only potential job path he has is in management. But what we want you to offer is potential pathways in management, a technical or sales-focused role that suits his skill set and his interest. So for him, that's going to be a technician specialist. And what does that mean for him and your organization? It provides career mobility according to their skills and interests, and it allows you to develop knowledgeable employees to ensure top customer experience. Now, moving into reinforcing your value proposition through compensation and learning development. In the short term, we recommend that you actually increase the wages of your impacted employees by 50 cents to really rebuild that potentially fractured trust of your current workforce. Now, in the long term, we want you to consider in-house certifications such as an appliance or smartphone expert, and restructuring a pay structure to reflect your skill set rather than years of tenure. Now, the impact of this recommendation is to reinforce your value proposition and retain employees like Alex by helping them envision a career path at MJ Electronics. Now I'll be passing off implementation for Jessica.
Thanks, Clara. So starting off with what you need to do Monday morning, this is going to look like meeting with Mark, your co-founder, to discuss the recommended actions that we presented for you today, as well as aligning your decisions and opinions to move forward with next steps with your management team, which would be step number 2, setting up the team meeting to announce all the recommended changes, as well as collect and analyze their feedback to ensure that everyone is on the same page and that you are moving forward with a strategy that enables MJ Electronics core values. Lastly, we want you to consider executive salary cuts. We understand that this is a big ask, but with the company's decision to cut salaries of your frontline employees last year, this likely fractured the trust of your employees, and we believe that this decision will be beneficial to your company in the long term. So we recommend for a 30% salary cut, as well as determining which executives will be willing to take the salary cut as well. Jumping into our strategy, this is what the upcoming year will look like for MJ Electronics. And moving forward with our enter the new market recommendation, this poses the question of how can MJ Electronics successfully launch an e-commerce platform? The key milestones of this recommendation is to hire Net Solutions, which will be your full stack developer company, as well as launching the e-commerce site at the start of Q4. With this implementation plan, we want you to focus on communicating the change to your employees, rolling out the e-commerce platform, as well as advertising the e-commerce site to your customers. So what does this really look like for MJ Electronics? You want to host a virtual meeting with your employees, as well as doing an email communication announcement to ensure that all employees who may not have been able to attend the virtual meeting is aware of this exciting news for your company. Secondly, rolling out the e-commerce platform. Once it's designed and developed with Net Solutions, you want to ensure that you have managed product data integration into the website, as well as gone through user acceptance testing before the soft launch of your site, before the official launch of your site in the start of Q4, as well as training your HQ employees to manage inventory management in a virtual space. Lastly, advertising your e-commerce site. What this will look like for MJ Electronics is doing an email announcement, as well as in-store promotions for your employees for your customers that are already in store, as well as publishing social media advertisements, which will be launched 3 weeks before this the official launch of your e-commerce site, with a KPI to generate revenue of $115 million within the first year of implementation of your e-commerce website. Next, how can MJ Electronics leverage their excellent customer service to excel at a greater capacity? So what this involves is communicating the change to your employees, shifting employees to the new role of the customer experience representatives, implementing Twilio, training your employees, as well as scheduling shifts. The key milestones of this implementation plan is selecting your employees for this customer experience representative roles, as well as partnering with Twilio and integrating it into your e-commerce site. What we want you to focus on is shifting your employees to the new role, implementing Twilio, as well as training your employees. So what this looks like for MJ Electronics is creating that job description of a customer experience representative, as well as obtaining candidates through manager recommendation, as well as interest of your current employees. We want you to transition 1 to 2 full-time employees, as well as 5 part-time employees per location. For implementing Twilio, we recommend for you to consult with the Twilio sales team to determine requirements for what your company needs, as well. Since the business structure is a monthly pay-as-you-go, it enables you to not get stuck in contracts. As well, you can ensure that you're able to have the requirements needed on a monthly basis. Lastly, for training your employees, this will be hosted via Zoom and recorded to ensure that it's documented for future training purposes. And you want to discuss job duties, as well as virtual customer service, and then the usage of Twilio, with a KPI of obtaining an operational score of 75 for your e-commerce site within the first quarter of your launch. Lastly, with a control your path recommendation, how can MJ Electronics position your employees and company for long-term growth? This involves shifting employee wages, defining job positions, identifying training needs, developing a career path program, as well as communicating and assessing your employees after the launch of your career path program. We want you to focus on shifting your employee wages. So this involves discussing with your management team, as well as communicating the change, of course, to your employees. Defining your job positions, determining the job responsibilities, and developing those job roles of the technical specialist, as well as the appliance advisor, and creating a roadmap for each skills/position for how your employees can get to those positions in the future. And developing your career path program, which would be creating a technical specialist and appliance advisor certification with a KPI of decreasing turnover rates to 55% by the end of 2022. Moving into long-term considerations, we want you to consider developing a mobile app, a recognition program, as well as restructuring compensation in the long term. Moving into finances, big ticket items that you should take into consideration are the cost of the site development and the ongoing annual maintenance, as well as the budget for marketing and Twilio. All of these are large costs. We believe that the benefits will outweigh the cost of the strategy in the long term. We've identified 3 risk and mitigation strategies. However, the primary one being the lack of non-loyalty member visitors to your e-commerce page, which can be mitigated by using SEO marketing. With our key to success strategy, we believe that MJ Electronics can leverage a human advantage and increase sales in the long term.
All right, thank you, delegates, for your presentation. Moving on to the Q&A period. Judges, please raise your virtual hand to ask your questions, and I'll call on accordingly, starting with Megan.
A lot of your planning your budget is from 30% salary. What happens if when we present this to our CEOs that they just don't say no? What's kind of the backup plan?
The backup plan mitigation for in case an executive says no is that we currently have 3 who have a higher buy-in rate than the rest of the executives. This includes Scarlett, the CEO, as well as Mark, the co-founder, who already have exhibited that they care about their employees and have also felt bad about the changes that they have made in terms of the 50-cent reduction.
All right, thank you. Any further questions from the judges? Andrea?
Morning. Could you go back to your financial slide and kind of go over that a little bit more in depth as far as the costs and the revenue generation from your plan?
Yeah, so big ticket items within our financials would be the developer costs as well as the website maintenance, which is an annual ongoing investment. Other items that you may consider would be a budget for social media ads, as well as the budget for Twilio. As I mentioned earlier, the Twilio is a pay-as-you-go monthly payment plan. So this is just a set budget for the year. However, it will vary year by year, depending on usage.
All right, thank you. Is there another question from the judges? Go ahead, Trevor.
Good morning. Just one quick question for you. When it comes to employees that you look to retrain and move into online support and some of those things, what if a lot of those employees are not interested in moving into that?
We definitely recommend having your managers really speak to these employees because they are talking to your associates one-on-one, having those pep talks, really honing in on the fact that there is this opportunity for flexible work arrangements that we do see is a trend coming towards in the future.
All right, Andrea, do you have another question?
I do. So you guys are proposing moving to an e-commerce platform. Where in your plan do you have costs involved for warehousing the materials that are not going to be supplied in your stores? They're going to need to be shipped from some location.
We plan to utilize the current warehouse that you do have, as well as later on shift to a model similar to Best Buy where you can ship straight from your store location, seeing that computer stores do have that inventory in the back to accommodate for customers.
Okay, moving on to Megan.
Just a quick question. Just with the Charlotte, are you planning on just transferring roles of the already current employees? Are you looking at acquiring more employees?
For sure. Do you mind repeating the last part of your question, please?
Yeah.
The audio cut out a
So are
little.
you planning on recruiting any new employees, or are you just thinking of for these new positions? Are you planning on recruiting new employees, or are you planning on just exclusively retraining current employees?
For now, we want to focus on the immediate issue of that really, really high turnover rate. So before we do pursue recruitment in the future, we really want to address what are employees looking for right now so that we can use that to later on leverage what employer or what potential employees look for us as an employer in the future.
All right, thank you. Any further questions from the judges? Nope, everyone's good. Going once, going twice. All good. Okay, thank you, delegates, for your presentation. You are now free to go. Judges, if you want to just hang back for a few seconds. Thank you.
Thank you for your time
Thank you for
today.
your time.